Hello folks, it is Paul here once again with another video for you. This one is not exactly a how-to, and it's definitely not a review. This one's more of an opinion piece. This is my explanation as to the differences between foil and screens. Or more accurately, why Paul hates screens. Now, most of us started with something like this. This is a screen for a hookah. It's, as you will note, relatively thick metal in comparison to a piece of foil. The holes are very large and quite numerous, and it is of a fixed size. You cannot change the size. Yes, there are tabs that can help you to wrap onto the bowl better, but in general, what you're dealing with is one fixed size. And if you're lucky, if you find a bowl that your screen fits quite nicely, you can just, fold the tabs down a little bit, put some coals on top of that, and you're going to get an okay session. It'll be fine. It'll be very airy because of the size of these holes. Your coals might have a tendency to overheat. Your tobacco might have a little bit of a tendency to burn because these holes are so large that it's drawing too much air over the coals too quickly, but also drawing in too much fresh air. That means you're going to get very hot coals with very hot tobacco right under the coal, but then a lot of fresh, smoke-free air coming in and diluting everything and making the smoke weak. On top of that, because the holes are so large, there's not much protection for the tobacco from the coals, and you're getting very, very direct heat. So you'll get an okay session, but you need to be more careful with your coal placement, your coal rotation, and your heat management. But you can get an okay session. Now, if you take this same screen and try to put it on a slightly larger bowl, it doesn't work. Even with the tabs splayed out, you can see there is a huge gap here. That's one of the major downfalls of the screen. It can't fit every bowl. And here we have the gigantic Tangier's small funnel, which has an even larger gap around the outside that is just going to be pure fresh air. And I mean, if you adjust it so it's right in the center, there's a gap all the way around the outside. A bad seal means thin, weak smoke. And that is why foil wins. This is trash. This can adapt to any bowl perfectly every time. I mean, yes, this is a ton of layers. I'm just using this as an example. I mean, you know how to foil a bowl at this point, but it seals much, much better. And you have the ability to poke any hole design you want, any size of hole you want, any number of hole you want, and you're going to wind up with something that looks like this. You get to choose the number of holes, the placement of holes, the size of holes, and everyone has their own special hole patterns that they like. This is one of mine that I enjoy, which is essentially a square of holes in the center with rows of holes along the outside. It's great for a funnel bowl. I'll go into details on that in another video, but really I just want to point out the fact that foil is the way to go. It's customizable in every regard. It is a great seal. It's a much better barrier against burning your tobacco because the coals, they contact the tobacco and have direct interaction with the tobacco much less. And it allows you to customize the amount of heat that gets through this barrier much more easily simply by adding another layer of foil. You can't do that with screens. And yeah, that's my list of reasons that I love foil and I hate screens. And if you haven't tried out foiling yet, I really do suggest that it's one of the best ways to smoke your hookah. Yes, actually, there are some traditional brass screens that are quite good. They're used more for very traditional forms of tobacco, but they're great because they more closely resemble foil than they do a modern steel screen. The holes are not nearly this large. They're much, much smaller. They're much, much more numerous, and they're much, much, much more like what you're going to find and what you're going to poke in the foil. Another thing is that the brass is very thin, and it transfers heat very beautifully. But you really don't find those anymore. All you find is this junky, crappy, rusty steel, which I suggest you pass on. So that's about it. This is Paul for Hookah.org saying thank you very much for joining us. Please go down, like and subscribe. Give us that thumbs up. It really helps us out. It lets us know what you're interested in seeing. Please leave any comments you have below, good or bad, and let us know what you would like to see in future how-to videos, future opinion pieces, and future reviews. Make sure to go to the forums. That is the only place that you're going to find the information you need to enter into our monthly contests, and that is where you're going to find great answers, great people, and great information about hookah. So once again, this is Paul for Hookah.org saying thank you very much for joining us, and happy smoking.